Straight ahead on CCX News, concern over the impact of a road closure. A Crystal neighborhood wonders if its street can handle the extra traffic. Plus, local perspective on the cold. How much in the deep freeze are we historically? We'll have the answer, but first,
we'd rather get to the point where when a customer comes in, we can just help them.
Frustration continues over the new computer system at local DMVs. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. Frustration does continue over technical problems with the state's new vehicle licensing system known as MNLARS. The computer software was rolled out last July, and today state lawmakers heard that only marginal improvements have been made since. The general manager of the auto auction in Maple Grove says delays are keeping some car sales from closing.
We're unwinding approximately $100,000 in deals per month, which does not include the expenses associated with the transactions. Through the Minnesota DMV, titles or duplicates used to take 3 to 4 weeks, but now can take 3 or more months.
The Auto Dealers Association told lawmakers it wasn't a bad launch, but a bad program. Lawmakers also expressed anger at the inability to fix the software, even though the cost has doubled. Meanwhile, workers at Golden Valley City Hall DMV office say some transactions are taking twice as long to complete as they used to. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains how workers have accrued overtime to keep everything running.
Hi. What can I do for you?
When you work at a DMV, every day
All right, I'll be right back with the receipt here.
is a busy day.
We're really busy at lunch no matter what day it is.
Staff tried to get people in and out in about 20 minutes. That changed last summer when the new MNLARS system rolled out.
It increased our workload a lot. We're doing all of the data entry now on the front end when the customer is at the counter rather than on the back end where we used to be able to kind of just process the transfer, go back and enter it later. Everything's done right then, so it just increases your time.
If you walk into the DMV here at the Golden Valley City Hall, you'll see a sign on the door asking for patience. That's one of the first clues that the transition to a new state-designed computer system has been anything but easy.
I don't think anyone expected it to be like it was.
Waits for customers were over an hour, and that made some want to take their business elsewhere. The office could do fewer transactions, which meant less money. Plus, staff started accruing overtime to keep up.
We came up with about $4,775 in overtime, and that did not include our salaried person down there either.
So the city of Golden Valley joined with other deputy registrars in drafting resolutions asking for additional maintenance.
$324 is the total.
And possible reimbursement due to the new software.
We're all in this together, and it's a package finally that everything works together. So we're looking forward to improvements.
In the meantime, to get through the line in the quickest manner possible,
Hi, what can I do for you?
staff say to first make sure you bring all of your insurance information, and then pack a little extra patience too.
Just be patient with the person behind the counter because a lot of times they have no control over the system, just physically won't let them do something, and they're going to try to help you, but know that they're probably just as frustrated as you are.
In Golden Valley, Shannon Slatton, CCX News.
And if you are a DMV customer who has encountered problems, the Minnesota State Legislature wants to hear from you. And we have posted a link on how to do that on our website. Go to ccxmedia.org. In Crystal, some residents are expressing frustration over the impact a road closure could bring to their neighborhood. This spring, Welcome Avenue will permanently close between 46th and 47th Avenue. The closure is necessary to make improvements to Welcome Park. And the most significant improvement will be the construction of a new softball field, which will eventually turn into the city's main field for softball tournaments. As a result, some of the Welcome Avenue traffic is expected to shift to nearby Xenia. Fewer than 200 vehicles use the 4600 block of Xenia currently. That could swell to nearly 1,400 vehicles, according to Public Works officials. Some Xenia Avenue residents say their street can't handle the additional traffic.
We already have traffic problems on Xenia from people coming off of West Broadway onto Fairview and speeding.
Moving from 200 cars to 1,400 cars. I remember back in the day when we went from like 700 cars on the street I lived on and it went up to 1,400 cars, we were just like absolutely just going crazy. Somebody's cheap.
Some council members felt more study is needed to get better traffic counts, but there was also a concern about delaying the project. By a 5-2 vote, council members approved closing Welcome Avenue through the park. Visitors to Lifetime Fitness health clubs have noticed a big change in the new year. The company has removed cable news channels from its television lineup. In the past, CNN, Fox News, and CNBC were permanent staples for people to watch during their workouts. But earlier this week, the company replaced them with local channels and networks dedicated to sports programming. A company spokesperson said the policy change was based on member requests from across the country and as a way to provide family-oriented environments free of negative or politically charged content. Well, we have been dealing with sub-zero temperatures for more than a week now, and if it seems colder than normal, yeah, that's because it is. As Eric Nelson found out, this cold snap is historic.
So it's air actually coming down from the northern Arctic, so that's very descriptive about the type of air that we're seeing.
It's official. This bone-crushing cold is one for the record books.
In 132 years, so this is the coldest end of the year we've had.
This Arctic chill has put the northwest suburbs in a historical deep freeze.
So you can see that the wind chills and what it actually feels like outside is 10 to 15 degrees below the actual temperature outside.
In the final days of 2017, the average temp was -4 degrees.
We are in a La Nina winter, which typically does mean colder than normal temperatures for our area. So we were expecting this to happen.
The good news about this record cold snap is if you're into ice fishing or skating, now is finally the right time to get out on these frozen lakes. Today, workers were busy clearing snow off Parker's Lake, creating an ice rink for future hockey games and figure skaters. Meanwhile, on Medicine Lake,
it's good fishing. It's a good lake.
Plenty of fish houses are already up, and the ice is 14 inches thick, perfect for ice fishing.
I know it's kind of dangerous, but I was got to be that first silly guy out there. But I was him, and after that, there's cars, trucks.
Brooklyn Park Sean Shopek is an ice fishing fanatic.
Hope we catch some crappies today.
Shopek has no reservations about driving on the ice and dealing with the bitter cold.
Catch some dinner and flay them up,
In Plymouth, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Well, still ahead, we head to Monroe Elementary School in Brooklyn Park for today's school spotlight. Plus, rivals Osseo and Park Center need overtime to decide their boys' basketball battle. That's later in sports. But first, the sub-zero weather will finally let up soon. Highs in the 20s are expected on Sunday. It's not often that an elementary school has an opportunity to set a Guinness World Record, but students at Monroe Elementary in Brooklyn Park tried to do just that a couple of weeks ago. As Delane Cleveland reports in today's School Spotlight, that's just one of the many reasons why people call the STEM school a special place.
I love that we're a STEM school. We get to do amazing things with 21st century skills.
Every day, about 660 students in grades K through 5 make their way to Monroe Elementary, a STEM school in Brooklyn Park.
We have a nice diversity of cultures represented, and we're very proud of the fact that kids feel welcome here and staff enjoy working here.
It makes me shiver.
Those staff members teach kids to push themselves through struggles, because overcoming obstacles is part of the learning process.
We have been working hard at growth mindset. So we've been teaching kids that you need to push beyond what your normal is. You need to try to do something better than you did yesterday.
Being amazing.
In order to do that, Monroe offers students a variety of hands-on learning activities.
Yeah, so in order for kids to learn best, they need to do the things that they're hearing about and seeing.
On this particular day, the students participated in STEM electives, where they could work on projects like making snowmen with foam balls or concocting a Dr. Seuss-style goop called an oobleck with cornstarch and dish soap.
They're experimenting with the ingredients and seeing what's the perfect combination to make their oobleck work, not be too sticky.
The hope is that these experiences help the students develop an interest in STEM fields.
What are you doing?
And even if they don't, they're still learning the fundamentals of perseverance.
Work at something, even if it's challenging.
To help prove that point, the students were given the task of trying to set a Guinness World Record with fidget spinners.
We are simultaneously spinning fidget spinners for 1 minute, trying to get 650 kids to do it at the same time.
The day of the big event, the students received some inspiring words from one of their classmates who was hospitalized after having spinal surgery.
Hey James, can you say hi to all your friends at Monroe?
Hi! And he had his fidget spinner and he was practicing in his hospital bed, and he wanted to send his team, his school, a message of encouragement. And he said, come on, you can be amazing. And it was pretty inspiring.
Good luck on the world record.
With those encouraging words in mind, the entire student body packed into Monroe's gymnasium to set that world record. Volunteers were armed with iPads to record the students, and the students had their chance to make history, with a little positive singing thrown in to help the good cause along. They won't know the results of their record-breaking attempt for several weeks, but they did get an all-important lesson in perseverance.
We'd love to have the symbol from Guinness that says we are officially amazing, but we're probably amazing anyway.
In Brooklyn Park, Blaine Cleveland, CCX News.
Monroe also has a partnership with the Mall of America, where students get to go to Nickelodeon Universe to learn the science of how the rides there actually function. Still ahead, how a little problem solving could lead to prize money in Plymouth. But first, Terry Tuma has some tips for your next ice fishing trip. John Jacobson is in next.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. Osseo and Park Center have had a good rivalry over the years in boys basketball. Wednesday's matchup between the Orioles and Pirates wasn't always a thing of beauty, but it turned into a very memorable game. 6th-ranked Park Center looking for a road win as the Orioles played their home opener. DJ Purnell sends it ahead to Kahari Broadway on the break. He scores plus a foul. It's 7-4 Pirates. Evan Page turns the corner and scores 2 of his 19 points. They tie the game, and it's close all night. Zach Tyson bombs a 3 from the top of the key. He scores 14 in the first half for the Orioles. Jarius Cook reads the pass here and steps in for the steal and breakaway dunk for the Pirates. A whistle-filled game is tied 25-all at halftime. Second half, Tyson sinks a long 3 from the right wing to put Osseo up 38-34. Then the Pirates surge. Emmanuel Tombo with the steal and dunk, although he's called for a technical foul for hanging on the rim. Down by 3 with under 15 seconds left, Tyson drains a huge 3. That ties the game at 53. And we go to overtime. Tyson with 28 in the game. In OT, Osseo's up 2 until Dane Danger goes coast to coast for the layup for the Pirates, tying it at 59. Osseo's Chike Okonkwo goes to the line with 1.8 seconds left. He hits the first free throw to give Osseo a 60-59 lead. Park Center's last shot is too late, and Osseo pulls the upset, winning 60-59 in overtime.
One gritty fight, that's all. It was a tough fight all around. Glad that we stuck it in on defense and got it done.
In girls basketball, Champlin Park is playing well. They took on District 11 rival Anoka Wednesday. Alumni night at Champlin Park with former Rebels players returning to their old gym. First half, Anoka's Lily Shonak gets the rebound and put back, and the Tornadoes take a 10-0 lead. But the Rebels go on a run. Erica Hicks with the steal. She'll go all the way for the hoop. And it's tied up at 10. Amanda Pollard drives and scores for CP. And they take an 8-point lead, 22-14. Gabby Maki draws a defense, sends the bounce pass to Izzy Quick for the basket. Champlin Park up by 10 at halftime. Second half, the Rebels on the break. Pollard to Maki to Megan Munique for the hoop. And then Hicks will line up a three-pointer and drains it for a 36-22 Rebels lead. Pollard gets a hand on a pass here, and Maya DeBose gets the steal and goes in for the Champlin Park bucket. And then Hicks later will hit from long range. She leads all scorers with 21 points. Rebels win it over Anoka 58-45. Stinger hooks can be useful for trying to catch tough bite walleyes. This week's CCX Sports ice fishing tip, Terry Tuma cautions their use under some conditions.
An angler asked me a question on one of the most recent seminars about using stinger hooks when you're fishing for walleyes with jigs. And the answer to that question is generally no, try to avoid that. What you can do is take your jig and bend out the hook gap with a pair of pliers to about 10 degrees. That should really eliminate that problem. The other is using too small of a hook, and the other too, what you can do to offset this is many times is go to a smaller bait, smaller minnows if you will. And also too, what you can do is bring up that jig up off the bottom, maybe 4 inches or where those walleyes are at, not necessarily on the bottom, and bring it up about 4 inches and make that walleye follow it up again and bring it up another 4 inches, make that walleye follow it up again, and then most of the time that will create that bite. What you can also do, many times what I will personally do is drop that jig down on semi-slack line and let that, you're sort of forcing or letting that walleye chew on the bait, if you will. There's a fine line of when to set the hook, but you'll learn after you do some experiment with that. But another great way trying to avoid stinger hooks. The reason I do not want to use stinger hooks is because many times if you're fishing close to the bottom, you pick up extra debris, if you will, dead debris, and then besides that, you got that extra hardware hanging down below your jig, which you do not need in the wintertime. Be sure to tune in next week. Take a kid fishing this week.
Thanks, Terry, and that's all for sports. Mike, back to you.
All right, John, thank you. Still ahead, a rather chilly treasure hunt that could lead to cold, hard cash. We'll be right back. Well, finally, a little problem solving could yield someone a prize of $250. The Fire and Ice Medallion hunt in Plymouth started today, and the idea is to get people to learn something more about their city.
It's a great way for families and participants in the area to get out, enjoy the winter weather despite the cold, but it's a lot of fun. You get to know the city parks where we have had the Medallion in the past, so there's a clue throwing that out there.
Well, there is one clue right there, but here is the first official clue. 2018 marks Medallion Hunt number 8. Bundle up for the elements and celebrate. We Minnesotans embrace winter's cold and venture outdoors for fire and ice's gold. That's the clue, and anyone can hunt for the Medallion, but only Plymouth residents can actually win the $250 prize, and it's going to be somewhere on public property. You don't have to dig to find it. That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us. See you back here again Friday, starting at 4.